Guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. And our latest is Louisiana's Attorney General, Mr. Jeff Landry. Hey, Mr. Jeff, welcome back to Keel. How you doing today?
Well, always great to be with you all.
You've been at the center of a small firestorm of late. Let's start with your ruling on, in fact, give us a little background on that and the reason for your ruling about off-duty first responders, fire, police, etc., being able to attend political rallies. Give us a little background on that and sort of bring us up to date.
Well, I got a call from Congressman Mike Johnson and Representative Alan Seaball discussing the fact that information was being put out that police officers and firefighters were being told they were unable to attend the president's rally because of civil service guidelines. And so I immediately sent that question to our lawyers in the Department of Justice and said, hey, could y'all take a look at that? And so we looked at both the Louisiana Constitution and the revised statutes. And we looked at the factors that surrounded the rally. And we came to the conclusion that they could attend the rally. I mean, there is a First Amendment right to association. Political speech is extremely protected under the First Amendment right. Just because you're a civil servant you don't lose your right to vote. And if you have a right to vote, you have a right to be informed. And so we put out an advisory opinion and said, based upon what we see, you absolutely can do that. And then after we put it out, we still had people inside, I believe, in the firemen's union, right? But remember that word union, okay? And that was still putting pressure on these firefighters and police officers saying they couldn't attend a particular rally. Well, but I tell you what, in my opinion, they may be violating a statute by trying to persuade them or coerce them or threaten them by means of their jobs not to be an informed voter.
Was there a specific local or state, I don't know, law, statute, rule that they were citing to the first responders, the fire and police, that said to them they couldn't go? In other words, what were they using to try to convince them that going to the Trump rally was off limits?
Well, they were using the same statutes that we looked at, right? And so if they're confused, they can absolutely go to our opinion and they can see that we're citing the exact same statutes that they're claiming prohibits them from doing it as well. In addition, though, they were also trying to use their power of policy, right, to write their own written regulations and policies based upon those statutes to further suppress these people's First Amendment right to association. I mean, the thing of it is this is the President of the United States. You're telling firefighters and police officers on their own time they do not have the ability to go to a public rally, which is open to the public, and not attend and listen to it. I mean, really, it's unbelievable the political divisiveness that liberals and Democrats will go to today.
In your mind, well, in your legal mind, do these tactics border on what you would call illegal intimidation?
Yes, it does. In fact, it does. And we certainly intend to look into these after these events are over. And it's absolutely ridiculous that based upon Supreme Court ruling, U.S. Supreme Court ruling, based upon our First Amendment right, I guess, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go out and just like me and Mike Johnson wrote a manual or a brochure on students' rights to religious liberty. I guess we're going to have to go out there and write people's right to the First Amendment so that we can post it out there so people would understand what precedent is and quit using these threatening tactics in order to infringe upon people's First Amendment right. I can tell you this. If any of those fire chiefs or anyone in the administration suspend these firemen, which they could, I'll tell you these firemen or these police officers are going to have a great suit against them. Unfortunately, go ahead, Ed.
Let me ask you this about the other issue that is brewing here. I'm sure you've been made aware of security for the president. Our mayor has cited Louisiana Constitution Article 11, saying no public funds shall be used to urge any elector to vote for or against any candidate or proposition, blah, blah, blah. And for that reason, He says we cannot. He apparently issued a stand down order to Shreveport police and firefighters with regard to providing security, infuriating the Secret Service. Other agencies have had to be called in, and he did this kind of, with 24 hours notice. Now, after being in the planning meetings and pledging, the police chief and fire chief all pledged their support. This law, is that what this law means, that he can't, that municipalities can't protect the president?
Absolutely not, Aaron. My understanding is that the mayor went to Harvard Law School. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that disqualifies him just in and of itself from being able to interpret the law, right? Because I'm going to tell you, the problem is that he is playing politics over public safety. In our state and under our Constitution, governments can enter into what's called intergovernmental cooperative agreements in order to move assets in areas that they normally would not, as long as there is a public purpose for that. And there's an absolute public purpose for having our law enforcement and first responders protect the President of the United States. I mean, this is pure politics. Pure politics.
Were you shocked when you heard about it?
Absolutely. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely shocked. I could not believe it, that he was doing so. In fact, I tweeted out, I said, look, if he's confused, we'll be more than happy, our lawyers will be more than happy to help walk him through that particular process. I mean, what was amazing also was the fact that the governor didn't even say anything. I mean, the governor absolutely could go, he could have cleared the air up. He knows better than that. He's a lawyer. This was the mayor playing pure politics. Look, what you're seeing in Shreveport is what's going on around the entire country. It's complete divisive politics by the Democratic Party. Okay? It's a complete do as I say, not as I do. Right? I mean, you think for 1 minute, if this would have been President Obama, you think he would have taken that position?
He says he says he would have.
He's lying. I'm going to tell you, because we have seen whenever the president has come to Louisiana, or we have dignitaries come into Louisiana, law enforcement agencies share responsibility. They call on them. I mean, let me ask you this question. I mean, when we have a calamity, Shreveport, down in South Louisiana, Shreveport Police Department personnel are allowed to go down to South Louisiana to help us out.
Mm-hmm. Is this going to hurt? Is this going to hurt Shreveport?
I don't know. I mean, it only hurts Shreveport if Shreveport allows someone like that to continue to lead them, right? I mean, it hurts them because at the end of the day, these are people that get in political office and put politics over public safety. That's a problem.